Hi, hello everybody, good afternoon. A warm and hello welcome from CXOTV.news, a flagship brand under Techplus Media Group. I am Anand Sharma from Techplus Media, your host for today's event. We have been running this webinar series titled Marketing Mondays since the lockdown started to provide a platform to marketers to learn from fellow marketing gurus. We have an important topic today titled What Makes an Ideal Marketing Organization? And well, we have an occasion today, which is Women's Day. Friends, you all must have seen the video clip of an interview for an operations manager who works 24 by 7, no leaves, no perks, no pay, and that was for our mother, right? So it would be foolish of me if I embark on listing down the value adds women bring to our lives. In the role of a mother, a sister, a friend, a wife, or a daughter. Why foolish? Because the list is endless. Even in our culture, it has been recognized as Shakti, the force or the power behind. Tech Plus Media salutes the women power, and for this, we have an all women panel today, and me saluting them, I will request our eminent panelists today to do a quick self introduction. Naini, why don't you start first?
Hi, thank you, Anand, and thank you everyone who's watching the show, and thank you to my co-panelists Neha and Sonali. Thank you for taking the time out. Uh, I think we all sort of congratulate each other. We wish each other on Women's Day. First off, I think every day is a day where we need to, let's say, support each other, pull each other up, and that whole network of both women and men as allies needs to continue 365 days in a year. So that's what's in my mind space, first off. And my name is Naini. Those of you who don't know me, I work for KPMG in India, and I am the lead for marketing and communications for advisory management. Thank you for having me, Anand.
You're welcome. Thank you, Nani, for joining us. Neha, we are just progressing on the order of alphabetical order of names. So why didn't you go next?
Thank you, Anand, and thank you, Tech Plus Media team, for having us here. A fantastic time to meet my co-panelist. I'm honored to be around with my co-panelist. I must tell you that, yeah, we all the success so far in my life, I've had strong allies, male counterparts, and I think this is the day when I remember all of them. So yeah, happy Women's Day to all the viewers. Be strong and be bold. I lead performance marketing and brand acceleration at IBM. I've been there for about 18 years now, with multiple roles, paid marketing and sales. So currently this year is special for me because in my CV, it looks like 50% of sales and marketing. It has 50-50 ratio of sales and marketing experience. So it's a small, tiny milestone to uh, be proud of. So thanks, Anand.
You're welcome, Neha. Thank you so much for joining us. Sonali, last but not least, please go ahead with your introduction.
Hi, everybody, and thank you, Anand and Tech Plus Media, for this lovely opportunity. And I am seriously thrilled today because we have two other women who are in power roles and have been achieving great milestones throughout their journey. And it's incredible how we all women have the power to lead and create a change. And happy Women's Day to all of the women watching today. So a little bit about me. I started my career in PR and marketing in the year 2011 after my MBA in marketing. And I started my company, Roarrr Media and Public Relations, in the year 2014. So since then, we've been roaring for brands in the SME space, for startups. We've been learning, unlearning a lot of things. So now we are a PR and a digital marketing agency, full-fledged. And we are also on our way to move into 360-degree marketing. That's about me.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sonali, and welcome you once again. So friends, the key agenda items we plan to touch today are as follows. Number one, what is a marketing organization? We are just starting from the basics. Second is what constitutes an ideal marketing organization, how to create one, an ideal marketing organization, and last but not the least is how to maintain an ideal marketing organization. In case you want us to cover any other topic or have a question, please mention that in the Q&A section or chat panel. So we all know how critical or tough it is to be able to create an ideal organization, be it sales, be it marketing, or anything else. And then all the more important to sustain one. It is easier said than done, or else we wouldn't have few successes, few failures, and so many averages. It indeed takes lots of metal to really create a long-lasting ideal organization. So without much ado, let us move to the panelists for their inputs on the topic today. Naini, let me start with you. Going back to basics, can you please define what is a marketing organization, its roles and responsibilities?
So whenever we're talking about marketing, Anand, from the very first day when we're at college, when we go on to doing our MBA, our top-up courses, every time, whenever I've gone through theoretical material, whenever I've seen in-person debates, I think the first thing that comes to our mind is that what really is your moot point of doing it all? It really zeroes down to one thing, that your customer, consumer is at the center of your operating universe. Everything that you do, everything that you want to communicate, everything that you want to, let's say, talk about, everything that you want to make known to the external world and to the internal world is revolving around your consumer or your customer. Because if you've got that right, then you'll get a lot of things right. Now, at the very core of that layer, there's another sub-layer, which is your own employees. You've heard Sir Richard Branson, you've heard a lot of other marketing gurus across the world, a lot of practitioners, a lot of people who are really marketing, researchers who've said that beyond this layer of customers who are literally the center of your universe is your own people or your own employees. How do you treat them as stakeholders too? Because for you to be able to deliver superior customer experience in this digital world, you need people who are equipped to deliver an experience which is outstanding. More so post-COVID, because the whole paradigm has shifted, right? From what was traditional, from what was earlier supposed to be, okay, these are the rules, this is what we play by, and this is your entire, let's say SOP, your playbook has completely changed. Your playbook is now online. And yes, another thing, it changes every 1 hour, right? So that's the rate at which innovation is driving the way you look at your consumer and your consumer needs. You got to be a lot more proactive. So to answer your question, what is really a marketing organization? A marketing organization is something that puts, and at the core of that center are your own internal people.
Would you like to elaborate a little bit on roles and responsibilities, Naini?
So when you're talking about marketing as an agenda, it could be, I've seen a lot of work with multiple people, multiple chief execs across my 19 years of my career. And I've a fair bit of that was a lot of client servicing. When I was with Genesis Person Mustella at Factors, Perfect Relations, I've seen everything pretty much from Lala mentality to people who take marketing and communications seriously. And I say marketing and communications because these are allied behavioral sciences, so to speak, because there's an art and there's a science. So it's all, coupled together. And when I say that, there are some people who are huge believers and there are some people who are detractors. As in any case, will be for both, right? Them around, turning detractors into believers is something which I think is the role and responsibility of every marketeer, every PR practitioner, or every communication specialist. And the other role is also about who's really at the helm of the organization and how much does he or she believe in that proposition or that support function, or that enabler or that sales enabler really. You see the difference in words, right? Most of the times, I mean, in the early, let's say from 2001 to 2010, all I heard was marketing or communications as a support function. Gradually, the narrative is changing and we're hearing people talk about that, okay, this is an enabling function. This is a part of your core marketing and sales, organization or structuring. So we can see the communication, needle change, and now marketing and communications has a seat on the board. So that pretty much talks about what the roles and responsibilities are and how they've moved from a traditional set to something which is more new and more tuned to the current age.
Cool. You have touched upon a lot of important pointers. We did one webinar some time back wherein we touched base as to what it would take for a CMO to move to the a boardroom or Oval Office. Okay, and rises of organization because of the brand they carry, because of the marketing function. It is indeed very important function, right? For I think almost all the segments. So moving on to my next question, Neha, would you like to add how the marketing organization has evolved from what Naini was mentioning, and what role it plays in the overall organization growth?
Yeah, so let me pick up what Naini just left off, right? She said the whole team or the function has evolved into an enabler. It is not a division which is cost division, expense, but it is about how this channel we are considered as another channel who can bring in revenue. So a revenue generative channel is what I would look at as the last 10 years. If I look back and see what is the kind of conversations the marketers are having in the organization has changed. It's no more about maybe 10 years back, you could have spoken about people still coming, people who do not understand the strength of marketing coming and telling us what they want, exactly being prescriptive, saying that I want one event or I want one EDM to be sent across, I want this and that. But now, when you have this conversation, it's very different. The conversations are about what is the business problem we are facing, right? It is not about discussing a tactic. So how did that shift happen? If I were to look at that, it means marketers understand business much better. Marketers are talking that language the rest of the organization understands. That means they are talking about where is the problem, what is the business problem we are trying to solve. And the good questions, we're training the marketers to ask the good questions and the right questions so that we get the right answers, right? If we don't ask them as to what are you solving for, you used to get treated, or people do come and prescribe what they want and not about what they want to solve for. I think that's a big shift in mindset, what I'm saying. And that comes with the change in the mindset of the marketer. Earlier marketer, I think we have all seen there is the left brain and the right brain. Left brain, people are very creative, and the right brain talk about numbers. If you were to talk about numbers to your business, say, you talk about how you acquire new clients and have that conversation different from you talking about very creative mind. So I think marketing has evolved to coexist and not go complete extremes of being only the creative mind, but also the business mind. So that right balance has put us in a sweet spot where we are the enablers and we've been asked to solve business problems. I love that positioning. At this point, that's what I'm seeing around me. And it depends on which company, what kind of solutions you're dealing with, what you want to take into market, be it B2C or B2B, what kind of segments and varied people you need to communicate with. But the whole point is you are the custodians. Marketers are the custodians of customer experience. Like Naini mentioned, core is clients. How do you communicate to your clients? How do your clients reach out to you when they want at any given point in time? How do they experience your brand consistently across different touch points? And how is that dollar being with you? The company is giving you the dollars to make more dollars. How are you able to invest in the right place? I think that's the ROI based conversation, and getting more from the buck what we invest has brought us to brought us the seat at the table, like Naini just mentioned. That's what I'm seeing, Anand. A big shift.
Sure, sure. Though I did hear, I do hear from on different forums that, these days also people come to marketing saying that, hey, I want to do digital marketing. For what reason? We don't know. So I'm totally with you, Neha. I think yes, to do the business value add, we need to understand the business problem, right? Rather than trying to do a fix just for the sake of it. So I'll come to more on that on performance marketing, and because you mentioned about dollar value and return on marketing investment. So I'll come to that. Let me move on to Sonali. Sonali, let me ask you a different question. How the organization at large should leverage the marketing arm to its fullest? Or if I may put it, where do we fail? What should we check out for? Over to you, Sonali.
Thanks, Anand. So again, picking up from where Naini and Neha spoke about, marketing is now becoming an enabling function and not merely a support function. We have actually moved to purpose-driven communication rather than solution-based. We are solving the purpose of the client, and we are keeping the customer in the center. The marketing team is the biggest support system, and in order for the marketing to be driven well, the communication message needs to be percolated throughout the team. There may be different functions operating out of one team. Some must be handling the PR, some must be handling the events, the advertising, the branding, the digital. So all of this needs to have one key message, and it needs to be like the DNA of the team. And that is how it can be really effectively used in order for your communication message to flow to your target audience.
Oh, and when we say that organization leveraging marketing, so what are the areas where organizations fail because of which marketing is not able to deliver? You want to add something to that?
Yeah. So there are major aspects like the first is any business, all marketing efforts are either to create brand value, to build the image of the brand, to send out the key communication, to sell the products. Ultimately, all of that boils down to business growth, the overall business growth. And the major challenges faced is whether online or offline is lead generation. It ultimately boils down to sales. And for that, there needs to be an innovative approach used by the teams. For innovation, you need expertise, some kind of a certain level of expertise in every team. For that, you need the right kind of hiring, the right kind of talent. The talent needs to be completely well versed with the current affairs, what are the current trends, staying ahead of those trends. Because ultimately you need to justify the ROI for the marketing efforts that you put in. So these are the typical challenges where a certain product-based marketing strategy is used, or only a brand-based marketing strategy. I think each vertical should be given a different approach. Just like Naini said, it is very important to understand the consumer first. We always follow a reverse approach wherein we talk about the product, the benefits, what the brand has to offer. There should be a customer-centric approach, and that is the biggest challenge I feel in any marketing organization, in understanding what is the communication message that has to go out to the public.
Sure, sure. Nani, anything that you want to add here?
What we really need to do perhaps is going forward, I think when people come into bits and pieces of what I picked up from what Neha said and what Sonali also resonated, was that there are people who come into this profession thinking that it's one of the easier things to do. it's perhaps a piece of cake. That is something that people need to first research about the profession, understand what it really takes. Neha, I mean Sonali a lot younger, which is why I reach out to Neha and saying that Neha, back in the day, for us who've been 18, 19 years into the profession, there were no choices, there were no shortcuts. I mean, you had to, if I can say this, you had to slum it out. You had to do your base work. And there were really no choices. You had to go through each of the pillars. You had to go with press releases. I remember taking press releases and going to different journalists and saying, hey, will you carry the story? For that matter, I remember my media rounds to Express Towers and the one in Lal Bagh Industrial Estate also, Anand. And there were days when I would fail miserably. And then there were days when I got it right. I think with every failure, what comes to you is the astute sense and focus of what works. And the more you get that experience early on in life, the better you become with each passing year. And I think that's very important for a lot of newbies who want to enter the profession, for a lot of newbies who have a colored, filtered lens of, let's say, glamour. Having handled 4 Black Media Fashion Weeks, I understand that it looks really rosy on the outside, but there's a lot of backbreaking work. A lot of my very dear friends manage it till date. The amount of you're fighting essentially for the same spot in the same space, right? How do you ensure one brand holds itself in good stead over the other? That is a lot of hard work that goes in. And
Absolutely.
just want people to be really cognizant of what it takes. So something, and I know each one of you will kind of relate to this, that one cover story that you've been pitching for like for 3-4 months, finally when it's out on the cover of, let's say, a Fortune, or let's say a ET or a TOI, or for that matter a story in CNBC or ET Now. It's just the feeling of gratification is much better than anything else that we've known. So that itself is huge when you see that when you do thorough work, when you do work which is talking about how you're taking the whole narrative of the organization out to the external audience, because that's the whole point, right? You want more people to know about it. That sort of gives it a third-party authentication about something which is not like an advertisement, but something where somebody is narrating the story on your behalf, and it makes it a lot more relatable, a lot more believable, and for ultimately the end consumer to have a positive light on your company and what are the products or suite of services that you have to offer. So it gives the tag of believability, it gives it the tag of feeling close or understanding and touching and feeling the brand. And that's what we're all here for.
Sure. Let me ask you another question, Naini. What would be, we discussed about, what is a marketing organization, what are roles and responsibilities. Now moving on to the next, logical sequence, what would be an ideal marketing organization, a dream one, and how would you create one? That's the icing on the cake.
An ideal marketing organization, this has got to be one of my favorites, is one where you hire smart people. I would always do that. I would always hire brighter people in my team, people who are absolutely A-listers, people who've got great track records, and people who are from diverse backgrounds. Because let's remember that when we're talking about inclusion and diversity, you've got to understand, you've got to factor in that there could be someone who's not from a premier college, is from a, let's say, a tier 3 or 4 city, but that individual might be just as brilliant or even more than you. So I've tried it out myself, and I've seen that when they all come together, the power, the force that they bring together of diversity of thought is just brilliant. So I would say that's an ideal organization where you hire smart people from diverse backgrounds and you don't tell them what to do. Instead, they come to you with ideas and you listen to that, you collate all of that. You understand what works for your business, what will augur well for the customers, and that's how it percolates down. So that would be my ideal organization, where you let the millennials tell you for what it is real, and it's not really a hierarchical yes sir kind of an organization.
Sure. So you mentioned that having a smart team or the millennials is one. Anything else that you want to add on as to what should we focus on while creating an ideal organization?
Yes, apart from having millennials, you need to have a team which is multi-generational. So no discrimination in terms of obviously gender, age. You need to have persons with disabilities. That's important because the abilities that they have far outweigh the abilities that we do. So that, and most importantly, like I said, diversity of thought. If these four things are taken into consideration, the outcome of your marketing organization would be superlative.
Wow. Thank you so much. Okay, so I'll come to that because I have a couple of follow-up questions on that, Naini. But to ensure that we cover the topic first, Neha, how would you measure the success and quantify that the marketing organization is optimally adding value?
Success and okay, so anything that gets measured is practice, or people do look at it. So there are a lot of metrics I think most organizations have, and we marketers have many metrics, right? You can just get lost in your metrics. But I think the success is not, it's a collective success with business. It is not standalone. Marketing is making their numbers. Marketing is happy, but the sales business is not, is not on top. That's not success. We are a collaborative team, and in the B2B space, I'm sure it is all about both teams being successful in what they do in terms of what their North Star is. Whether it is North Star can change year on year. It could be new client acquisition. It could be revenue. It could be how the brand share of voice is. Many metrics and many KPIs. But I think the collective success speaks volume when the whole business is up and we have year-on-year growth and strong business performance is what I would term as success. Yeah, then comes those smaller milestones which we have marketing organization would have. All of those milestones will snowball into this collective North Star is what I feel. Yeah. So for me, it is a collaborative team. To what Naini just mentioned, ideal organization is about being collaborative. You can't be just sole fighters somewhere alone, is in a silo place. You will have to take on a collaborative approach, creatively inclined so that you can give the best of the experience. Fail fast, innovate and fail fast, because if we don't have the strength to fail and move on, then we wouldn't make anything big happen. So I think those are all for me. I would term as success.
Sure. No, it makes sense. I'd like to touch upon as to how we can measure or how we can say that XYZ was successful and ABC was not. So, but we'll come to that. Sonali, moving on to you. Anything you may wish to add as to how to structure and leverage an ideal marketing organization?
I think when I think of an ideal marketing organization, I see an organization with the right kind of talent, as Naini beautifully has put it across. She has really emphasized very well on the kind of talent that you need to really hire. So I wouldn't focus more on that. Apart from the right people, you need to have the right mindset for marketing. In terms of right mindset, what I mean is you need to understand whether a particular mechanism is working or not for your organization, a particular communication message is serving the purpose or not. So you need to have the mindset to learn and unlearn things. You need to have the mindset to accept what is happening in the real world. You need the mindset to understand what is the frame of mind of the consumer while they consider your products and services. So with that mindset comes an open mind to practically get your budgets onto the right kind of marketing strategy. Because if you are open to adopting an innovative approach, you definitely would have to deploy strategies where your data is in place. You would need your consumer research in place. Apart from that, you will need the right kind of media planning to be done. So all of this needs an open mindset, and the entire DNA or the crux of the organization will lie on the mindset of the marketer. I feel that is.
No, sure. That's great, Sonali, and I resonate with you that yes, not only the communication, but then we need to look at the entire stuff in a holistic manner, right? To make it successful. Nani, coming back to my next topic, within this event topic, which is how do we sustain an ideal marketing organization after creating a masterpiece? And it's very easy to actually create one, but then it's not easy, but then it's all the more tough to sustain one, because initial josh is high and then it drops down, and then you resort to averages, which nobody wants, right? So what is your advice on how to sustain a uh, ideal marketing organization?
So there are two ways to look at this. One would be that every marketing campaign, which is essentially a subset of a marketing organization, or the work that we do, has an expiry date, right? There will be a lot of brands who understand that there are things which are topical, there are things that are need of the hour, and hence they would customize their products or services accordingly, right? So while you're at it, when you understand what are the three things that you do, you try and understand that is this timely? Are we completely ready with our go-to-market proposition? Do we have our target audience sorted? Do we have all the levers to ensure that we would be on a great market launch and a great growth curve? So when you have these sorted, you understand that there's also got to be a periodicity to it, right? Or a certain level of, or a date where you know that this will perhaps come to an end. We know a lot of product companies who phase out their products, and hence what it also tells us is that everything is time bound, including us as individuals, right? So that's the first part of my question, which says that a marketing organization needs to change with times, and things perhaps which are masterpieces, you're very proud of them, right? But there's got to be a time to phase that out as well. And when linking it back to my earlier point, saying that you need more fresh blood within the system, is to further harp on the point that today's masterpiece also is paving the way for tomorrow's next big project, right? So you need more people to think differently, to come and approach and challenge what you are doing. The entire hashtag for International Women's Day 2021 is what do you choose to challenge? So I think we should be able to encourage people to be less of yes ma'am, yes sirs, to more of being naysayers, and where they say that this is not working out. Why don't we try this? Why don't we disrupt? Why don't we do things differently? And that's what you need to choose to challenge and ensure that there is a different level of innovation. There's a different level of innovation of thought, action, and marketing organizations as a resultant of that. That we see in the future. So number one, it's all time bound. Number two, you need to get in fresh blood to ensure that there are many more masterpieces in the offing for an organization, because the organization is eternal, irrespective of the people who are in it at any given point in time. The show must go on, right? So you from one generation to the other, really in a multiverse of employees or human beings at that given point in time, they need to be able to hand the baton on to the next set of people, which is also about succession planning.
Absolutely, Naini, absolutely. And many times we do see wherein the leadership, which is generally, I'll say, I won't say older, but I'll say elder to the younger generation, right? To the marketeers, okay, to the frontline team, and there's some gap between their thought process and understanding and what is so on and so forth. So you brought out a very important point as to how to make inclusion and how to ensure that diversity in terms of diverse thoughts are promoted, right, rather than saying yes boss and what I'm telling you is the right thing. I have got gray hair with 25 years of experience, so you better listen to me. All right, cool. Thank you so much, Neni. I think you hit the nail at the right spot. Uh, Moving on to my next question, Neha, that comes to you. What are your inputs from performance and brand perspective? Because you are a brand champion, a performance champion. So, what are your inputs? And for measuring performance of an ideal marketing organization, what one should take care of, and then from branding perspective, whatever you want to share. All yours, Neha.
From a performance standpoint, it is the word itself gives away the answer, right? Uh, Everything what you put into market, how does it add value to business? That is something which is important from a performance standpoint. From a brand perspective, it is about being consistent. How do you show up consistently across all channels, right? And how do you connect emotionally with your buyer? Those are the two things which we look at. How do you show up, and how is the storytelling, right? Because we are in a space where our products are, the sales cycle could be somewhere between few months to couple of years. If that is the kind of products or solutions or services you're dealing with, then the engagement starts very early, and it's a long journey with your client. So how do you make it interesting for your client and for yourself, right? And what is the job of a marketer? To influence our clients and also help him or her to build consensus, right? So that building consensus bit, if we understand and if we put ourselves in the shoes of our clients, then we understand how do we build consensus? How do we help him or her build consensus within their organization? I think that's a big job we have. The scope is large. The team also has to be a mix of whether you have generalists. There are some days you feel very good that you're a generalist. Then there are some days you feel that you're very good because you're placed as an SME. So how do you have a balanced approach on how many generalists and how many SMEs you have, and what is this? What is the solution, or what is the problem you're solving? And the culture of the organization defines the culture of marketing as well, because we are integral part of the overall organization. So for me, the performance is one is about your business, the other is about your team as well. How is your team feeling? Are they curious? Are they happy to fail? Are they scared to tell whether they're innovating, and are they sharers? Those kind of things make a great team. So externally, it would be everything to do with revenue. It would be about client experience. It would be how you show up, what is your brand, share of voice, all of those KPIs. But internally, it would be what is the culture we are building as marketers within our team, how agile they are. They don't have to see everything today. Everything is sorted from end to end because it's dynamic market. Clients are moving, dynamic market conditions, right? How do we pivot? Like the last 12 months, none of us even thought about we would all move to digital. How do we quickly pivot to a digital, complete 100% digital, right? So those are things which remind me that the success would also mean what kind of culture we are driving internally as a team, and how that is transpired into what campaigns you roll out, what brand campaigns or performance campaigns you roll out, and the results thereon. And then I think that's how I would sum it up.
No, absolutely, Neha, absolutely. Well, sometimes a different school of thought comes that how much you should measure, how much you should monitor, because monitor and control go hand in gloves, right? And marketing being as much as art, as much as it is science. So you don't want to control too much, right? Because then you'll be making it very stereotype, right? I think I will park it for some another session. But that is something which I would be keen to learn from you, Neha, as to uh, how much should be adequate to measure and how much should be free flow, right? Because see, in large organizations, when we fill up WBS, every hour is counted, right? We charge for every hour, right? So, Sonali, moving on to you, perhaps my last question to you: how do you see the future unfolding? And I'll again come back, Naini, to you and Neha for this question. So, Sonali, how do you see the future unfolding, and any insights that you want to provide to the audience?
Sure, sure, Anand. So I think 2020 has been a year of change. Everything had just changed in the snap of a finger, I would say. Every business maybe was in a confused state whether how to go online, because yes, there were businesses which were doing well online. However, all their marketing efforts were not concentrated to online, and that big change has brought the situation which is a little bit of an unpredictable situation wherein marketers are they have this question mark as whether what is the right strategy that they should actually go about, right? However, with the digital era, that actually I would always say that the digital era has started in the during the pandemic. Before that, we were all trying and testing our skills to leverage digital marketing. So if you see, social media has very much become a very important marketing tool, right from your sales to your consumer connect to your relationship building to your customers. Every aspect is addressed today by social media. So definitely, social media is the future. And I think in the future, wherein we've seen that products are being sold online, more and more products are now being sold online. E-commerce is the way forward. Every physical store, every Lala run business is also thinking about getting online and on e-commerce. So I think there is a huge leap towards digital marketing as a whole. Yes, and there is a lot of beauty into digital marketing, of course, because it offers you marketing at highly reduced cost and a wider reach, which is faster, with its own pros and cons, of course. There are points like the consumer connect missing, for which we have again the trend of conversational marketing, wherein you understand that your customer needs to talk to you, you understand what is the need of the customer, and you address that need. So that will give rise to an increase of AI technology, wherein chatbots will be the future. However, it is technology ultimately, and the human connect will be needed. So your customer facing department needs to be very strong in this case. I think conversational marketing holds a lot in the future. Then further, we have experiential marketing. We have your virtual reality, augmented reality coming up, which is going to revolutionize the marketing space in the future, wherein you can actually showcase an entire product range or an entire concept through these technologies. I think this all will also lead to a focus on bringing in brand transparency. We see that the consumer is now socially conscious. By the day, that has increased a lot, and especially the pandemic has brought a lot of focus on health and relations and the human aspects of everything. So every brand would have to have their strategy, their communication concentrated around building trust and connecting a chord with the consumer, as we've been speaking throughout. I think yes, all of this coupled with respecting a customer's or a consumer's privacy in terms of data. I think that is also going to be the future of marketing. That will gain respect for a brand. Nobody likes to be hammered with calls and advertisements. So I think as we are moving towards a lot of information overload with digital growing by the day, there will be a lot of focus on the data privacy and respect aspect. So yeah, that's coupled with. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't want to miss out on a very important point. Neha said that brands need to influence people. Influencer marketing holds a lot of potential in the future.
Absolutely. Advocacy marketing, or peer advocacy, is gaining prominence. And any thoughts? We are wrapping up. So how do you see the future unfolding?
The future is very bright. The future has a galaxy of stars. And the universe, like I said, if I were to sum it up, is the customer. Fairly, like a broken record, I'm going to go on about it. The customer at the center of our universe. At the core of it are our employees. And taking on 2 points which I thought were really, really, important and relevant for our discussion today to what Neha said, is that how do you ensure that everybody understands the value that you derive out of doing all of this? A dollar for a dollar and more, that mindset, because at the end of the day, everybody's going to ask you for a return on investment. And how do you ensure that it's all tangible? How are you able to show the upward curve? And to what Sonali also mentioned, that there are a whole new range of people, such as the influencers. And when she talks about influencer marketing, when she talks about pretty much everybody in that list, you have media, you have analysts, you have new age bloggers, you have people who are people who just simply verify products and the quality of your products. There are testers. You have a whole gamut. You have a new ecosystem who you thought, who you didn't take into consideration earlier. So this is a new set of influencers who you have to keep in mind when you're communicating. It's no longer just the traditional set of people, but people who definitely are taking center stage. I think that's what the game changer is going to be, and really show us what an ideal marketing organization should do and should keep in mind, should be cognizant of.
Sure. Thank you so much, Naini. Neha, any lasting thoughts that you want
I
us to?
I think, Anand, the basics would remain. Some basics would remain. Being authentic as a brand will continue to stay. Execution, flawless execution, timely execution, that rigor will continue. What will change is the way we reach or connect with our clients. The points what Sonali mentioned, whether it is GDPR, whether it is digital, whether it is the shifting needs of client. So that would mean that we have to be data savvy. There's no gut feeling now. It has to be gut feel plus the data, what shows. So I think we all have to arm ourselves with good understanding of data, good understanding of looking for the story within the data, because you can get carried away with the data on the front of what you're seeing with all the metrics. But if you can stitch the story of human behavior, I think you're spot on. So more and more, the technology space would talk about how or show us how our clients are engaging with us. That will be an interesting space to be in. But I think the basics will continue. So I would leave a thought behind. Let's create that community, ride on the wave of advocacy, incubate ideas. Don't be, penny wise and pound foolish, where we are only talking about here and now and not having any ideas incubated. So we need to look for, build a team, build something that will last for some time at least. It is not permanent, but it would last for some time. So I think as leaders, if we pay attention to that and build the foundation that can accommodate any changes, that will help our team to perform very well, is what I would believe.
No, I absolutely resonate with all three of you. We did talk about customers, employees, and stakeholders, and then we talked about metrics and measuring success with KPIs. Collective success is when business is up, right? So we also talked about having a bright and diverse team, which would ensure that it is a superlative marketing organization, as Naini had put. We touched upon innovative and fail fast to learn and unlearn. Also, the messaging and communication to both external as well as the external worlds. Marketing works in tandem with other departments, and it has to be collective success. And it's onus on marketing to voice out very clearly as to what do they need to achieve XYZ. It has to be time bound with metrics to measure. All these pointers we discussed today. With this, we call it a day. I must share that you can watch past events on www.CXOTV.news for demand watching. I must congratulate the eminent panelists today for sharing such insights with us on this seemingly easy topic. I wish all of you happy Women's Day. I wish you all the success, and with this, I thank each one of you for attending today's session. Have a great day and a wonderful week ahead. Thank you very much.
For more updates from CXO TV, please like and subscribe to our channel.